Hi, my name is Marcus Casswell. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Develocode, and today I'm with
Ashley Barrow. I'm the CEO and founder of Reassist.
And this is Founder Fridays.
Inspired me to create Reassist is I had been a care coordinator for over 2 decades in Ohio, in this tri-state area, Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, and I've seen a lot of vulnerable individuals. When I say vulnerable, that means aging, disabled, chronically ill, social economic issues. And from county to county, a lot of these counties are rural. There's pockets of metro areas. From county to county, there's different resources. So as a community care coordinator, it was oftentimes I spent hours trying to find resources to connect these individuals. And sometimes if you didn't get to them, the resources on time, it would be devastating to that patient and the family. Also, in my institutional career, working in hospitals and other institutional, there was a lot of coordinators involved in care. So for example, there'd be nurses, social workers, there would be community health workers. They would all be working together for one patient, but they worked horizontally. And so the way that they worked is through different abstracts of care. The nurse might be working towards one goal, the social worker worked towards another. They'd be working for the same patient, but sometimes they would use different systems, different processes. And with that being said, working in that horizontal way, I felt like that there needed to be a vertical. We can consolidate, the processes, the people. We can consolidate the technology. When you look at the technology burden, the individuals that are maintaining those technologies, if you're doing 2 to 3 different technologies for the same group, those coordinators, how do we vertically, consolidate the people, process, and technology so that it is more streamlined for health systems so they can actually make money and patients can get better. And so that's why we started Reassist, essentially. It's because my background had been in care coordination. It was a lot of research involved in that. It was a lot of effort to collect data, patient data. It would take sometimes days to weeks to do something as simple as getting like an equipment or a prescription for something. So that's why we started.
That's awesome. Part of what you said about the being in rural areas and somebody who grew up in a rural area, I know that the town that I grew up in central Georgia, I think we were an hour away from most medical centers. I don't even think we had a hospital where we were. And then getting any information in the start of that is just, once you get processed or anything like that, it is insane. I watched my mom with Parkinson's deal with the same thing, having to drive an hour, 2 hours north to Atlanta, drive an hour south to Macon just to get to the appointments that she needs to do.
Absolutely,
so, yeah, that's awesome. How Develocode focuses on human-centered tech is we listen to our customers, we listen to their customers, and it's very important. When somebody's building something, it's not usually for themselves. It's usually to help other people, especially within the area where we're at. A lot of founders are trying to find ways to help some way that, they had issues with what their grandmother went through or what, their brother went through or something of that sort. So our goal is to just sit and listen to them and try and make sure we hear the humanization inside of that so that we can take that and build it into tech that's actually going to help people. So
absolutely. I love that. I really do. It's a passion of mine. I've been a caregiver since I was 4 years old. My grandmother struggled with diabetes, that turned into end-stage renal disease, and I was her little caregiver, helping her. And I just remember, being very resourceful at a young age, 4 years old. And so many times I go into these rooms and I'm not the only 4-year-old caregiver. And that's why it's very important that we put the human part into this technology, that we're looking at it in not only from a standpoint of family members that are trying to transition through care, that we're making it intuitive enough for the caregivers, and also the clinicians. Because healthcare right now, clinicians, I just had a person that was hospitalized the other day. They're spending long hours of their days working, trying to care for individuals. Patients are coming into hospitals with higher acuity of care. They're heavier. It's more coordination involved in what they do. They need technology and they need systems like ours to help streamline this process so it's not such a burden on them. So that's why we take the heart. We have a heart symbol as our logo, and it's engraved in everything we do from the time that we were caregivers, the time that I worked in coordination in the community and the institution, and now as a technologist, I look at it from that standpoint of, is this intuitive enough for patients to use? Is it patient facing and also clinician facing? And are we getting to the part where we're going to actually do something to streamline care?
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I think that's an important thing to point out too, is that when you're building a product, especially something like this where you're trying to help, you mentioned being able to use it easily. UI UX is a very important part of technology, and it will help people be able to understand what you have going on as you build out too. So the easier somebody can use an application, let's say somebody's elderly, they may not use a phone very often, the easier that it is for them to use it, the easier it will be for people to adopt it. So I think that's a very important thing to point out too. Okay. I mean, between the places that I've been to, Columbus, Cincinnati, Lexington, Louisville, up to Michigan, there's hospitals everywhere. There's care that is needed everywhere. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. But in this area alone, I think within Cincinnati, we have 7 hospitals around each other, including children's. And I think we're close to a hospital now, like within throwing distance of a hospital now. So there's a lot of resources that we're already training these nurses, these caregivers to have. I think that, we're in the right place for it. With UC, I think we have UC Xavier. Does Xavier have a nursing program? Or
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think most of the colleges around us have I think most of the colleges around us have like big nursing programs, and UC is very well known for that. And I think, if you want to be in a place to build stuff like that, to help caregivers, to help patients, like be a place where, put yourself in the right place.
Absolutely. The Midwest for me is exciting, because we talk about rural counties. I think it's like we got 88 counties and 60 plus of them are rural. With that being said, there's had to be a lot of tribal knowledge. So when you can put that tribal knowledge to technology, it's going to be some incredible innovations available. Now, one thing that I found in Ohio in general is that you can definitely build here. The ecosystem is very tight knit, and they have a lot of connections. We've been able to bootstrap our company to the point where we have a full product with integrations and security, everything that a hospital or a clinic would use or need. We have that embedded in our system, and we've been able to bootstrap that through the ESP programs, Ohio Department of Development. We spent some time through, we started a SoCap accelerator, which was through Northern Kentucky. We were introduced to Mortar Academy, who is very helpful. They're still very helpful to us to this day. We also spent some time as a residential, like a business in the business center through Alloy Growth Lab, a couple years there, which was wonderful. We got a lot of introductions, and as a nurse, I was able to take the business acumen that I learned from that clinician to the business acumen, and actually turn and commercialize our products. So for that reason, I'm very happy about the Midwest and the things that are coming here. And you can definitely build here, which is very exciting.
Partnerships shape my work primarily through finding clientele, which is very important for us. In the beginning of our company, it was a lot harder to find clientele. It was a lot harder to talk to people. I'm not a big talker. It may not seem like it, but I'm not a big talker. I don't like introducing myself, but that's something that I've had to break myself from. And luckily, I was able to participate in the Lightship Bootcamp, which we're both alumni of, as well as Think Moda and Jobs Ohio Accelerator. And that was really able to help bring me out of my shell in a lot of ways, be able to talk to people, be able to kind of understand exactly what goes into running a business. And those partnerships have helped a lot. And then on top of that, we do a lot of word of mouth. A lot of our work comes from word of mouth. And we have a couple key partners that are, as well as our clients, not just our clients, but our partners, such as Aaron Wearable Technology and Cocoon Technologies with the Laura app. So we also have some key strategic partnerships with some of our clientele who work with a lot of word of mouth to help send more clients to us, specifically Aaron Wearable Technologies. Valder, you're awesome. And then Cocoon Technologies, Leah Lewis, amazing woman who's always out supporting the people around her. So the best advice I can give to you is get out there. Be a part of the community. Don't let yourself just sit in the corner, because if you're going to want to do something, action is the best thing that you can do. If you want to be an entrepreneur, jump at it, start researching, and then start going out and talking to the right people. that's the best advice I can give to you especially as a budding entrepreneur, because that has changed things for me immensely.
Absolutely. Partnerships, like I said, I bootstrapped until we built the full product with the integration, security, everything that's needed. So with that being said, we worked a lot with SoCap Accelerate. We started there. Actually, me and my son kind of built this little thing, and we worked through SoCap Accelerated in Northern Kentucky. That was really nice. Then we came up to Cincinnati, and we started working with Mortar Academy, who helped us with our business acumen. I'm a clinician as a nurse. Very hard to, put all that in perspective when you want to build something to scale, and they helped me prepare for that. We started working with Alloy Growth Lab, which we were a resident at the Business Center for a couple years. We've done some work with the Dayton Entrepreneurship Center, Jumpstart in Cleveland. We've also done some work with Harvard and City University of New York. MIT Solve has really helped us and supported us, which has been very helpful. So we've got some strategic partnerships and some strategic things going on as well. So it's just all built us, but everything started here in the Midwest. Advice I would give to new entrepreneurs is keep your IP. That's one of the biggest things I always talk about. Even your social media, down to your social medias, your logo, your name, whatever you can do to make sure that you have that, you do your due diligence to make sure you can keep that and spread that, nationwide, if you will, with your trademarks, service marks, any type of patents you can get, your copyrights, any trade secrets, all that stuff is very important. Try to get involved in the ecosystem, because someone's going to know a resource that can be able to help you. And don't stop. Just keep going. Keep going. No matter how hard it seems, you'll get to that next level.
Mm-hmm. I do want to add something to that too, especially in the Cincinnati area. Cincinnati may seem big, but it is such a small town. I'll give an example. I went to a new barber today. Him and I talked about going to the same church at the same time, and then another church at the same time. People know each other around here, so it is important to keep those connections. It doesn't matter if it's just in business or anything, but be a part of this ecosystem, because that is what's going to help you grow.
And just side conversation, when you bring in on your customers, do you help them get to certain milestones?
Absolutely.
That's important.
I'll tell you, we take an extra step from the development agencies that I've worked for in the past. We take an extra step beyond that. If our clientele is going to an event that we can actually travel to, parts of my team are showing up to support them. It doesn't matter if we're cheering, being cheerleaders there. It doesn't matter if we're doing testing. It doesn't matter if we're showing off their product. We are going to be there to support them. It's a little hard to navigate through that. Sometimes, because you want to be there all the time, but you can't be there all the time. So we try to make sure that our team is prepared to jump in and do whatever they can to help our clientele, which is something I have not seen a lot of companies I've worked for in the past at least do.
Yeah, the milestones are very important.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're bootstrapping in the Midwest. They want you to be very sophisticated. Your team, your product, they want you to have all the integrations. They want to be able to plug and play this thing.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, it takes a lot of money to do that. It takes relationships to do that. It takes time. It takes expertise. It takes time to understand, like, from the legislation and all this policy point. You got to factor in all these things. So to have a team that would be willing to do some of the research. Like, do you guys do discovery work?
Yes, absolutely.
That's important.
So,
discovery work. Go ahead.
Our team finds it, well, we can't do anything without doing discovery work, because if we don't understand the product fully, we cannot build the product to the specifications that the owner of the application wants. We have a team of 3 who usually goes in, and we'll go through as a team in a meeting and list every single possible thing that we can do for it. That's within the contract details, and we usually provide that up front before we start getting into any major programming. We help set those milestones, but those milestones are based off how our customers want to do that work. We're a little different. A lot of people want money up front. We'll take a deposit, but we want to make sure that we understand what it's like starting a business. We understand what it's like starting a startup. Everybody is strapped for cash. Bootstrapping is the way that a lot of people can go if they have technical acumen, but when they don't, they're going to need a team to take care of them. If you cannot trust a team that's going to take care of you, then why do you even have them? Absolutely. Yeah. So we try to break down these milestones, and then we'll meet with them every week, every 2 weeks to go through what we do. And that gives them that sense of security. Okay, you have a team that's actually here. You have a team that's looking out for you, that's working for you. It's just the cherry on top, and we can go to things like Cincy Startup Week, Black Tech Week, and be there to support our clientele. Like, that's not something we charge for. We just want to take care of our clientele. In development, there is one thing that I've noticed in a lot of ways is that there are a lot of times when you go to show something to a client or something you've built to a client, it's working perfect up until the last 5 minutes before you show them. And then it's just out of nowhere like, oh, this function doesn't work anymore because it's not communicate. So, recently Develocode had the opportunity to go up to MCity and to Kettering University with one of our clienteles to do testing. I was able to be on site. We had a panic right beforehand where, if anybody's worked on an Apple app, that getting it onto the store takes some time, especially if you're working with test flight. Sometimes you have to get it approved to do external testing. Up until the last second, we did not have approval for the test flight testing. And I'm like calling support. And that's something that I feel like I've seen on other teams where that level of support just is not there. I wanted to be in there. I was helping the film crew, everything that I could do to just be supportive and help. That's something that I want to do. Yeah, sometimes that might bring me to kind of overexerting myself, but as long as my customers are happy at the end of the day, that's what I want to take care of. Like, I want them to have a working, functionable app that's actually out there saving lives or doing what they may do. It may not even save lives, but as long as it's working towards their benefit and what they want and towards the customer's benefits, that makes me happy.
That's amazing. That is amazing. And I know that especially a young company getting started that needs the services. Do you do long-term services too?
Yes, we do long-term service.
You do short and long-term.
So we'll build out product. We'll stay on with you. Whatever. Yeah, if you need to meet to discuss some things, we try to take care of our customers in that way too. If we're moving from a phase 1 to a phase 2, we're there. We're inside the mix with the team to make sure that they have full understanding and we have full understanding.
That is absolutely a need, because especially I keep bringing up the bootstrapping. You're going from check to check and trying to find services and credits and
absolutely
all types of things. So if you got a team that is willing to stick with you through that, knowing that it's coming sometimes, and be supportive and be that extra team member of expertise when you're at events, that's amazing.
Absolutely.
That's really helpful.
And one thing I will say too is I've built my team, I've catered my team around what they can do for the customer. I know that my business partner and I, we love taking care of the people that we take care of. In the communities that we take care of, but I also have other team members. I'll shout one out real quick, like with Jonte Holden, who he's always there. He's speaking to he's reaching out to our customers, making sure that they're happy, making sure that they have that full understanding of what they're looking for. He'll go through, break down the project with you, and he's really, really good at that. So it's about having the right people to provide the right support. There are sometimes I am not comfortable providing proper support to somebody, and I will let them know. I am not about to tell somebody that I can do something that I cannot do, because it's not fair to them. So it's been an important part of our team to make sure that also to have guardrails on myself, because if I could, I'd be just doing free work for everybody, but that's not gonna happen. I gotta pay bills, so.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, just to talk a little bit about that kind of leads me to your market fit, and making sure that you are catering to the customers that are actually in your market fit. So we had to find out, rural health, individuals that are a part of ACOs, which is accountable care organizations, or more like our fit versus hospitals that don't have those relationships, or clinics that don't have that relationship where they don't really need to streamline processes and they can piece together things. So I do understand where you're coming from with that.
Yeah. How do you handle HIPAA information within your, I guess not within your app, but what I'm trying to say is how important it is to make sure you have the right compliances within the technology that you build. And I know that yours works with a lot of HIPAA technology, or a lot of HIPAA compliance. Can we talk about that in a technical aspect about how you manage following proper HIPAA compliances? Yeah,
first of all, in order to have any of these integrations, you have to follow the right security principles. If you don't have access. Bottom line. Absolutely. And you better be secure. You better make sure everything is secure and encrypted from end to end. You got to be working with servers and different products that are going to embed and have those HIPAA compliances on there. So that's essentially how we safeguard everything. In addition to our processes, everything like that is safeguarded. Two-factor authentication is very important for what we do. You know, that we have in CDAs and different things like that for the individuals that we're interacting with, stuff like that. So just trying to protect, again, the security and our IP in everything we do. So that's essentially hand in hand.
Absolutely, and security is a very important thing, not just in HIPAA, but you also got to worry about SOC 2 compliance and GDPR if you're handling money. You know, it's really important to have someone who actually knows what those compliances look like and know what it is how to build those in the back end too, especially if you're not sure, because that could cost you a lot of money down the line.
Absolutely, and just as you talked about SOC 2, a lot of the times these entities are asking you just to fill out not only the SOC 2, but you need to be able to do a security questionnaire, which is to that customer specifications. And you do need a person that understands like the ins and out of that to be able to answer those questions and answer them intelligently so you can move forward in the process. So that's very important.
Absolutely.